And hello, and welcome to another episode of Big 12 Mafia Show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your co-host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me is another partner that I have on the screen, and that would be the Wild Ute. How you doing today, Ute?
What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday.
Made it through the weekend, right?
That's right.
And we have a special guest tonight. Miami Flo is here. Flo, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I do mostly hurricane content. I love college football, and I've been doing it now, I don't know, since COVID. Like I was telling you guys, we got our channel has a bunch of different shows on it, and all the money we make, we donate to NIL. It's kind of our niche.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
Right
pretty
on.
cool.
Excited to have you here. We've got so many questions for you, Flo.
Let's get it.
Let's do some shout outs and everything before we get in it. But man, we are starving for some Miami Hurricane inside knowledge here. So
all right. So let's start with the business first. Thank you for everybody who's with us live, and then those again that will be joining us in a little while. Please follow us all on Twitter. That includes Miami Flow. And let's try to continue to build this little family that we're doing. The creators really deserve to have your attention, and we're here for you. So we really appreciate your time. Make sure you follow us, turn on your notifications, and then that'll let you know when our posts are out, and also when our YouTube channel has another video. I appreciate everybody for being here. Really quick, I'm going to post a little video that we put together about how to becoming a member of the Big 12 Mafia, College Football Mafia family.
Want to become a member of the College Football Mafia family? Simply select the Join button from our homepage. There are several options with their own unique benefits to choose from. You can also set yourself to auto-accept gifted membership by selecting the gift settings options as shown.
I love it. I love it so much. And we've already got people in the chat waiting for Flo to be on the air. So let's not wait.
Get Flo.
Get right to it. First, let's do some shout outs. Should we, Ute? First of all, we also have a membership that was given right at the beginning by Moen. Moen After Dark, giving somebody a membership. That member happened to be Congo. So Congo, make sure you thank Bowen for that gift membership. And then I would encourage everybody, if you receive a membership or if you just want to share what we do here, we really want to encourage people to pay it forward. Give a gifted membership if you've received one. And if you're just in a good place, you want to have a good day, you can always pay it forward in that regard. All right, the first shout-outs are fairly quickly. First of all, Joaquin Morales, one of our members, says, hey, Bomber and College Football Mafia family, don't forget to smash that, I guess that's a thumbs up button. It's free.
Right,
let's go.
Button.
Leave us leave us a comment or suggestion as well. We really appreciate those. So Buckshot Kid was number 2, saying, oh, hey, the College Football Mafia. Good to see you. Timothy Green is in the house. Han Yolk, all the way from Slovenia, is here. The Big Lubbock is number 5. No, Moen's number 6. That's nice, Moen. Let's see. Michelle Weintraub, really quick. I'll get to this in a little while, but BYU finally got a basketball coach. I say finally. It's been all of 5 days. Fastest hire BYU's ever done. And I'll give more information later, but they're paying him $4.3 million for 7 years. Jeez. Only Kyle Whittingham makes more money in the state of Utah.
Who's paying that, though? Who's paying that, Bomber?
I would say that would be Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge. And Ryan Smith he's a billionaire, owns the Jazz, just helped move a hockey team into Salt Lake Valley somewhere, and own Real Salt Lake, and now probably owns a piece of this coaching hire. So I'm ear to ear. He was the number 1 rated assistant coach in the NBA, currently works for the Phoenix Suns. So
hey, Flo, while we're on the topic, who was that billionaire years ago for Miami that was funding a lot of the players pre-NIL and everything? What was that guy's name?
You talk about Ruiz, John Ruiz.
It must be.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's why it's kind of cool to talk to people from other spots. Like he might have been the public guy, but there's about 4 with much deeper pockets that really help the collective. But they don't want to be named. They're right. Very secret guys.
How about 2 Live Crew, right? Had a little bit.
2 Live Crew. 2 Live Crew back in the day. That was bad press. But
I don't think so, man. Gangsters and Callenvicks and going to Phoenix and getting off the plane with their
the fatigues.
They loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I was in high school.
Not 30 for 30
in the world. Yeah,
No.
there's actually 3 Miami 30 for 30s, I think. A few more here. Say Jeff Fuller's in the house, giving mad props to BYU on Twitter. Appreciate it, Jeff. Good to see you. Sergeant Pickles is a contributor. Caleb Ramirez. This is the guy that I wanted to get down to. Let's just stop with Terry Kane. Are you familiar with Terry Kane?
I have seen Terry Kane. Yes, sir. Was good.
All right. He's been asking for you.
All right.
So,
I'm here.
Yeah, we're here now.
He and Rock and Rant. Yeah, that's
right. Rock and Rant's now one of our contributors as well.
Present.
Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go first. You're leaning forward. I got it. That you probably have a couple questions you want to start with.
Well, yeah, I kind of want to go a few places, Flo. First off, like the expectations for the season. We'll get into that. But then I think we'll transition over to recruiting for Miami and like just your views of recruiting too, because I know you're really deeply involved in Miami recruiting. And lastly, the realignment side. We talk a lot of realignment on this channel. Definitely curious on where Miami kind of sits and what they're thinking about everything. So that's where we're kind of going today, at least. So let's start out and talk about the season, the upcoming season here. So what's your expectations for the Canes here for the 2024 season?
I think when you go out and get $1 million quarterback, the expectations immediately become you better do something, right? We're blessed that talent acquisition is not a problem for us. Everything else is, but getting good players on campus is not difficult. I think the expectation for the season is, depending what side on Vegas you're on. We're 9.5 right now. They say we over under 9.5 wins, and I'm like right where Vegas is at. To be honest with you, I'm on the lower end until I see what we do in this portal window that just opened up today, but. They want to spend money, and that's what the new college football is. It's free agency. Let's just not, you step around it a little bit or on eggshells. It's free agency is what it is now. It's big bags. It's the big boys. It's the blue bloods. People who's going to spend more and get the players that are going to give you the W's. For us, it's Mario's third year. We went 5-7, 7-5. Mm-hmm. If you don't win 9 games, there's serious problems down in the 305. Serious problems. But it looks healthy for 9. I'll let you know more in a couple of weeks to see what this portal window brings in.
Man, has anything happened today in the portal for Miami? Like any significant shifts, moves, good for bad?
I wouldn't say significant. I mean, we like you guys, you're involved with your team. You kind of know what's coming. So far it hasn't been a surprise. And like we were talking off the air, everyone's back channeling, right? Everybody's back channeling now. So I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is, can you close on who you're back channeling? Because everybody else is back channeling that person too. I like to think that we're going to spend money, and because it's a very critical year for the Mario regime right now. I mean, you cannot have another subpar to season. If you do, I think it's a problem down there. But I feel really good right now as far as having a successful year. Not sure what it looks like though until another 2 weeks go by.
Go ahead.
Let me just ask one question. But by the way, I forgot to ask you about how long do you want to go tonight? I don't want to go over a time limit you have.
I don't know. Let's vibe. Let's just vibe and
all
see.
Right, we'll go. You put your hands up when you're ready to surrender.
Okay.
Mike, we do have realignment questions for you, but this stuff that's happening right now in Miami is huge. The recruiting, the NIL. Moen has told us that you guys have some crazy NIL fund, like $15 million. Is that actually true?
I don't know the exact number, but the people that are involved behind the scenes are people that own like professional teams, like you were talking about, somebody from your area.
Yeah,
but
Ryan Smith. Yeah,
it's several. I mean, when you bring over a guy like Leon Messi, which is the best soccer player in the world,
right,
and you buy him out of a contract that's $200 million just to get him to come here, and you're one of the donors, I'd say that money's not an issue here. The issue is the infrastructure. A lot of people don't realize that are around the nation, because when we're in the news, it's usually for bad things. But Mario had a clean house. The culture was atrocious here for 20 years plus, atrocious. And the truth of the matter is, in his contract, and I don't think this is public because we're a semi-private school, but in his contract, I'll share that he had certain stipulations that were like, listen, I want an unlimited budget. I want to be able to hire and fire when I want. I want certain academic things like. And they gave him everything, which we would not give the keys to anybody for 2 decades at least. Right. To pull him from Oregon, where he had an open checkbook, you had to give him what he wanted. So I think that the future's bright, but these first 2 years sucked for us. Like, I mean, we're all hyped up, and as a fan, you want the immediate result. And he doesn't build that way, and it's a little frustrating for some of the people, you know.
Yeah, that brings us to a different topic here. Like, how much do you think in today's world, like, do you need for roster retention for new players to bring in as far as an NIL budget? Like, Flo, if you're going to compete for national championship, not just like win like the ACC or Big 12, but if you want to win a national championship, what do you think the range is now? The expectation for the players?
I think it goes up every year, right? It goes up every year. It's almost like a salary cap. I mean,
Right.
honest to God, right? I don't think you can mess. I don't think you can play with less than 10 million. If you're in that, you can't even sneeze for less than 10 million, because it's not just going to get. You have to retain.
That's right.
You understand? Like, just like we're looking and trying to poach from other teams, they're doing the same thing to us, especially with the recruits that this guy's bringing in. So the budget has to go up every year. I will give credit where credit is due, though. They build up a collective it's formidable against anybody, you know, at the end of the day. So I believe that your guess was a good guess. I'd say between 15 and $20 million is what it's going to take nowadays to battle the Ohio States, to battle the Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs, you know, Texas A&M, where they just go, how much? Oh, you want me to add a zero here? No problem.
Right.
You know,
right.
So it really is sad in a way because of what it's doing to our sport, but it's the reality now. It just really is.
It's straight as Utah's budget is around 7.5 million. So we are under that threshold, right? I'm trying to lift that all the time. But that was at least last year. So you're hoping to get a little bit more in the 10 million range, but it's tough. You know, if you're not one of the elite programs, it's tough to try to get 12, 13, 14, 15 million to pay players nowadays via NIL contracts. So definitely understand that, man.
But look at how, excuse me, but it's not, I'm an old school guy. I like old college football. You know what I mean? And I'm all for players getting paid, but when they open these floodgates, it's you're not going to stop it now. I know everyone says everyone knows what's going to happen. They're probably going to have to become employees, blah, 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 all that. But still, what is going to happen to 70% of college football? Because only the 30% are going to survive.
Right.
I mean, let's if we're being honest, the budgets are getting so stupid that there's only what maybe 30% of the schools are really going to be able to survive and turn them into employees. And so it's all exciting now. It's kind of cool to see. And with now the playoff system, but is it sustainable? That's what you got to think about. And then you know who it really ruins? The high school guys.
Right.
Because why am I going to go get a guy with high school tape when I can go buy a dude that has 2 years of college tape?
Right.
100%.
Like, makes no sense for me. So it's you know, the grassroots is going to get watered down, and then you know, now you got the agents where they're pretty much running everything. They're running everything, you know. And I don't know where it ends up. I know all the speculation. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but the powers that be. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, you know, TV money and booster money is going to run everything.
Let me get a couple things in here. First of all, Lonnie Johansson, gives us a super chat for $2 saying hi from Northeast Kansas and go BYU and UAU Big 12.
You know, Lonnie's one of my favorite BYU fans. He's always throwing go UU in there. Much appreciated, Lonnie.
Yeah, I definitely think that's good.
Thank you,
we got another super chat. You're just trying to get away all my questions I want to get to. Cleveland Rocks. There we go. He's another one of our members for $5. Says one of the greatest Cleveland quarterbacks went to the U. Bernie Kosar. Yep, I watched him play. He is loved even today. Great ones attend the U. Jim Kelly, Testaverde. That glory was 30 years ago. Let's be very clear. There's a checkbook. Now they did win in the 90s and also in the 2000s, right?
No, we got one.
How do you feel about this? Is my question to you, and maybe next we'll go to realignment. Is here you're a fan of a program that, in my opinion, has been a blue blood since you guys, you know, Schnellenberger in 81 or 82, whatever that was, right? So, going forward and now looking back, because the last 20 years has been really, really, I don't know how you want to put it, but
bad.
Bad, fine. And it's your words. I'm able to do that. But how do you do that compare and contrast right now? Because as we look into the realignment questions, Miami has a lot of holes to fill. So do you feel like you're right at the jumping off point and you're ready to dive into this deep pool and pay for all those things you're talking about? Or is there a little more of a climb to go?
I think a big thing they did was I like to use the word stealing Radakovich, our AD from Clemson.
Okay.
Getting him was massive, and a lot of the people don't realize that was one of Mario's, and of course getting Mario. When you get someone that knew what it looked like, that actually coaches here, we kept hiring all these people that didn't really know what it looked like when we were doing something right. So you go hire someone that learned under Saban, I mean, the guy knows the blueprint. You give him an open check like we're talking about, but then you go get one of the best ADs in the country from Clemson, who just built Clemson right before this.
Right.
I think it puts us in a position of at least we have a piece on the chessboard. I don't know what it is. We still could be pawns. We might be a horse. We might be a rook. I don't know where we're at, but I definitely think with that type of leadership and that type of collective, when NIL, it puts us on the board for sure. History does have a little weight, but these TV contracts are looking like, what are you going to do for me moving forward? And I think they're going to look at Radakovich. They're going to look at Mario's success, and they're going to look at the collective, plus the Miami market, right? The Florida market. I know the Big Ten's trying to get in there, and I know the SEC's got Florida, and they think they're doing something, but the Big 12 also wants to get in the market because UCF brings a little bit of it. Right. So it comes down to, are you positioning yourself with leadership? And then hopefully, here's where I answer your question honestly, it'll translate to the field. But they did it right. They started with an infrastructure first. Right. Now we're hoping that it translates to wins.
When did Miami hire the Clemson AD? Was that at the same time as Cristobal?
So the story goes, and we could talk about it now, is Alonzo Highsmith, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with because he's one of the greatest scouts. He was pulling some strings the same year that we were firing everybody. And this is common knowledge now. And if you don't know, well, let me give you guys some nuggets. The reason Manny and our old AD got fired is because Alonzo was meeting with a lot of the people behind the scenes that make decisions. Mm-hmm. And Mario said, I will come there under these circumstances, but I also want Radakovich. Go get me Radakovich. So believe it or not, Mario was hired with no AD in place, and Radakovich was hired like 3 weeks later. How crazy is that? It's like it's ass backwards, but it worked out. And then look what happens 6 months later. Alonzo Highsmith gets hired as GM of football operations. So when you get those leadership in place, it's really hard to fail. It's just, can you be patient enough for them to fix everything? That's the real issue. But it was after he got hired after Mario. I think it was like 3 weeks. It might have been 4 weeks after Mario was already hired. But we knew, like some of us, we were like, we know what's coming. We were excited because we needed a really good AD. You need a good AD nowadays. If you don't have a good AD, you're in trouble.
We got a question from Greg Flugar. Peek around the corner, and the godfather of all this creative stuff, at least in realignment. Thanks, Greg, for being here. We appreciate it. He says, is Miami targeting Oregon State's running back, Damian Martinez? I heard the whole world's trying to get him.
Yeah, everyone wants that guy.
Yeah,
he'll be on campus the 25th through the 27th.
Okay,
we're getting his last visit.
So he's a Texas boy, though. Does he have any roots in Florida, or does he have any connections or anything?
I don't know if he has connections. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's a couple guys that I have higher than him that I know Miami's also talking to. But, I mean, he's the sexy name. Like, I mean, oh, my God, look what he did. Look, look at the highlights. I like a couple other guys. I'm not going to lie. I like a couple. I like the guy that just left Louisville, Boone. I think he's very good. And there's rumors, this is the way we'll say it, that the University of North Carolina running back Hampton is about to jump in the portal. And I don't know if you've seen his film. It's pretty crazy. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, he's supposed to come to Miami, the 25th through the 27th, I think it is. We'll see if he makes it. We get his last visit. And in the portal, that's not good. In recruiting, that's great. But in the portal, you want to have the first or the second. Because if someone wants to write you a check, because of the check. Think about it. You come on my campus, I'm like, look, I'll give you this. But you gotta. I don't want to wait 2 weeks, for you. Like, what's up? And if you watch the blue chip guys that go do their meetings, it's usually one of the first two schools to get them.
Right, and that's something that bugs me. Why make the window so big when you know the best players are going to be gone in the first week? Why make it a month? That number is just stupid.
Yep. Yep.
It is
I'm
so
That's
with you on it.
business right now. You say you don't leave this campus.
Yeah.
You sign right here if you're going to
It's-
take the
you-
money.
Again,
That's
it's
good business,
today's college
guys.
football. It's
here's the-
today's college football, guys. Listen,
here's
I'm not
the
the
keys
bearer
that-
of bad news. I'm just telling y'all.
here's the keys to that Porsche 911 sitting right over there that you can just sign on this piece of paper and you get that. All right, so let's talk some realignment. That's obviously something we're pretty well background in. I think you and I have been at the cusp of this, I'd say, for almost 2 years, following everybody.
We
And
try
I'm
to
sure
make
you have
realignment
too.
a science over here.
Yeah, we're
Flo,
trying.
so
We're trying.
Yeah.
we're
So,
trying to make more of a science. The study
first of
of
all,
realignment.
did you get a chance to watch that realignment video, Miami to the Big Ten?
I've watched a lot of Miami realignment videos to the Big
Okay.
Ten, to the SEC, to the Big 12, where we have rumors that we're going everywhere, and then
Right.
wait, and then some people again, credentialed media, at least in art, and I can only speak for my school.
Right.
They don't get the real information. Mario has everything, and that building has everything. He has it on lock. He leaks what he wants to leak. Radakovich leaks what he wants to leak, but they report what they can report, whatever they get, and I don't know if it's like that, at your teams, but it's difficult. And I mean this with respect, because I like a lot of the media here. It's difficult for them to get real information because they have it locked up.
I think that's fair. Just so you know, we did do quite a bit of time on Miami. Ute actually put together this little short. I'll actually post the link to it. You can watch it after the show, but it's just right off of our main page. Hit the video button, and I would recommend you watch that University of Miami to. Let me open it here so I make sure I get the right link. University of Miami to the Big Ten.
Yeah, we'd look at a lot of factors. So, Flo, we created some models, like a Big 10 model and a Big 12 model, based on information that is relevant and important to those conferences. And we grabbed data sources to do some modeling, actually. So that one just targets Miami to the Big 10 and see how they're fit for the Big 10. So, yeah, if you're interested, definitely check it out.
Definitely. I love analytic stuff. Come on, bring it.
Well, that's where we're not just opinions here, right? We put a ton of time in, and we won't cite something if it's not a fact. We don't rumor monger. This is all based on data collection, and that's why our show's a little different than most others. But my question on realignment to you is, it's felt from the outside looking in like the ACC has been kind of caught flat-footed. With Florida State getting left out of the championship then you had the announcement they were going to sue the ACC, all that stuff from far away. I kind of saw that coming from a long way. It looked obvious to me because we just watched it for a year and a half with the Pac-12. And even though, they're a little different because their contract was ending versus a contract that's in good standing, the similarities are very much the same. Washington and Oregon felt like they were way above any of the other schools in the Pac-12. That's why USC and UCLA left with USC. Oklahoma and Texas, same reason. So why does it seem like the ACC, and then you can tell us what you think about Florida, Florida and how they felt, why does this seem like it's been so slow to action?
Well, number one, it's corruption. I mean,
oh, sure.
It's corruption. It's corruption at its best. I mean, when you dig, and I know you guys have, from everything that I've heard, you go back to the heart of everything. And where did it start? With the commissioner's background? What deal did he sign? Why did he sign that deal? Right. It's not hard nowadays, it's not hard to find out if you really want to know what's going on. How to fix it is a whole different story. Right. It's a whole different story, but it's a terrible deal. Right now, all of a sudden, because Florida State and because Clemson and now UNC are poking holes at this granted rights deal that it's unbreakable. Yeah, okay. Well, now they found like 5 different ways to break this thing. You know what I mean?
Or more.
Right. So I think it's just humorous. To me, it's very humorous because it's not just the ACC on the line here, is it? There's big names behind the ACC, people that work for TV, people that work for we'll just say cable companies, or whatnot, streaming services. They did a lot of shady things. And do they want it to come out in court or do they not? And the ACC it's not going to last. I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, if you did the analytics, and now you don't even need the analytics for this. Common sense tells you, from if you're following the court case and you're reading up on what's being said and what evidence they're trying to attack and what was in the contract, it's a disaster. The ACC is going to implode. I mean, it just, is it going to happen this year or is it going to happen next year? And that's all it is. And then what you're probably going to get to is, where's everybody going to go? Where's everybody allowed to go? Right? And that's really, to me, what's should be. I mean, we'll talk about whatever you want, but as far as the ACC goes, it's in reverse. It's going in the wrong direction. All the big teams want to get out. That's usually a sign of crap. Everything's about to explode.
Flo, that actually goes right into this next discussion here. So, with Florida State and Clemson rattling the cage, just totally just screaming, like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here! I'll sue. Do whatever it takes." Miami's approach has been to be quiet and coy, and much more reserved and calculated about this. And it seems like, well, that first of all, I kind of want to get your perspective on that. And secondly, like, is Miami backing really the ACC in this? Like, there's been some support, at least in Miami circles. I believe it was maybe your AD or president. So they supported the ACC. What, about a month or two ago? So what's your perspective on Miami's position and how they're playing this thing?
It's simple. Publicly, Miami, our AD is going to say everything right, everything correct. Yes, we're all for the ACC, absolutely, 100%. But quietly, they're having meetings with the Florida State attorneys, the Clemson attorneys, the UNC attorneys. I know if you did the Big Ten thing, they've already back channel with the Big Ten. They're back channel with the Big 12. SEC is a little different, right? It's a little different what's going on with the SEC, but I think, to give you an honest answer from the information I have, I think they're just letting them spend all the money, and they're just wait. So you guys go. I'm just being honest. You guys go ahead, and go get it. And now, because there's all these little cracks in the armor of this deal, there's a lot of meetings happening with other schools as well. Some people call it, what is it, the Elite Eight or whatever.
Magnificent Seven.
That's what it is. Magnificent Seven. That's what it is. So they're all talking because, it seems like Florida State's about to put their foot on their throat of the ACC, and Clemson's jumped on board. UNC looks like they're jumping on board. And if we're being completely honest, is there 4 schools that are appealing out of the ACC? Maybe 5. I mean, I don't think the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC want, and I mean this respectfully, want Wake Forest, Boston College.
Right.
It's UNC, Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. Let's be honest, and maybe Louisville, if depending on how you twist it. Right. So those schools, I think, will land on their feet, and Miami is definitely in the game. They're just, I'm telling you guys this, they're definitely not for the ACC. But they're publicly 100% gonna do everything right. They don't want to get in any trouble. They're playing their cards real close to their chest.
That makes a lot of sense there. Yeah, the Big 12 in this. I mean, we cover a lot of Big 12 stuff. Obviously, Big 12 Mafia show here. If the ACC does fracture, I mean, the Big 12 might be a beneficiary. They're not going to eat first or second. We know the P2 will. But your Louisville's, like you mentioned, and even your Pittsburgh's, right?
Pittsburgh,
that's really good ads, right? Based on adding rivalries to the conference and everything. So it's fascinating. And here's a question from Miami's perspective. What's like the best case scenario when this all shakes out? So let's just imagine hypothetically that Florida State and Clemson get out some way, shape, or form. What's best case scenario for Miami, right, when that happens?
Well, ESPN decides to blow it up, right? Because once that happens, as long as it happens between, I think, June 30th, I think that's the date, if I'm not crazy, then that gives the right to ESPN to go, okay, I don't have to honor anything. This is over. We're done. And it dissolves. And then it lets everyone go, I guess, shopping is the word. I don't know what the word is, or get shopped. That I think the best case scenario is for those 2 teams to announce that they're leaving. Either you guys can help me with this. It's either before or right. I think it's before June 30th.
Yeah. SMU goes July 1st, and then the California schools join August 2nd, I believe.
Right. I think June 30th, if you announce that you're leaving the conference, it kills, it allows ESPN to come in and go, okay, we're done. We don't want to do this. And then that's the end. That's the end of everything. And then it's chaos for real. But best case scenario for us, because I think we do, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Canes fan. If you know me, I'm a realist. I think we're okay. We're gonna have a landing spot, regardless if it's the Big 10, SEC, or the Big 12. Someone's gonna grab us because of the market. It's the market.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, it's not because we're the Canes. It's not we're happen to be in South Florida. They want that market. That's what it comes down
And
to.
you're the Canes too. I mean, you
And-
get a
Right.
brand.
No, right. We are, but we haven't been. And so the truth is, they would want to grab the market. You know, at the end of the day, it's. We talked about this earlier. It's about the TV money at the end of the day.
Right.
You know.
Can I propose something to you? And this is
Absolutely.
off the wall.
Absolutely.
So we did. You broke down the U to the Big 12, right? And we got a bunch of people saying one side or the other. Never happen, or yeah, that'd be great. For both of us, I always say up front, we would love to have them in the Big 12 because that's where we're at, right?
Right.
But big picture, if you're still talking about access to a playoff structure, and if the Big 12 can stay like 2.5 or 1.5 right behind the P2, and Miami's in that conference, not only does their value in the conference go up, more importantly, now Miami is the brand for the entire conference, right? So is there some appeal to that? Because if you join the SEC, or if you guys just join the Big 10,
Right.
you're way down here, right? I mean, you're
Right.
exceptional at some things, but for the most part, you're just going to be another win, is what
Right.
Moen would say for Ohio State. So of those two, which, and I don't even know what the SEC would do with Miami, but what do you think about that?
I think that, and I really like this conversation because I like to hear how not like people outside are viewing things. And
Right.
What you said currently is 100% correct. But on the football side, it's top 7 class, top 5 class, and we're about to be a top 3 class.
Right.
I think the football stuff is about to start taking care of Miami. So if we do go to Big 10 SEC, we don't start at the bottom like we have been terrible. I think that is something to say without being like a homer. It's about talent. If you look at the roster that is being built right now, it can rival anybody's, right? Like we can go play anybody, and I'm not like crap. We're about to get killed. Like it's a little different, but you still have to show it. So let's take the football aside because we haven't shown it yet. I believe that if the Big 12 is something, and a lot of my fans kill me for this, I would like to go to the Big 12 first because I do think in 4 or 5 years, and I mean this respectfully, I don't think there'll be a Big 12. I think once those contracts get ready to come up, the other two conferences are going to swallow that one too. I believe that it's going to end up not right off the bat.
Right.
I think it's in 5 years. Whenever those TV deals come,
29 and 30 is the Big 12.
That's when it is. Okay,
30, 31 is the Big 10.
That's when I think that they're going to
swallow. I might have that backwards. I apologize.
But you know what I mean? It's right around that timeline. I think that's it. It really seems like it's going that way. I think the Big 12 right now is definitely the place that will withstand at least another 5 years, right? 6 years, whatever the number is. But I think after that point, the Big 10 and the SEC are just going to swallow that conference too. And then it'll just be two big, gigantic monster conferences. So I have no problem, me personally, and then the fans are going to kill me because they always do. I would have no problem going to the Big 12 because I think it's look at the Big 12 like it used to be. And I think adding Utah, I think there's some better coaches now going into the Big 12 as well.
Right.
I think the conference is better than people are giving it credit. And I love the basketball side of it. It's like amazing basketball side of it. So I would not mind that. It's better than the ACC. And like if Florida State and Clemson leave, it's going to be better than the ACC. So you're going to go somewhere. And I know, and I'm sure
this is a remarkable perspective, Flo, because we've talked to a lot of other ACC fans, including Pitt fans, and they are just
football, bro. I know
they will thumb their nose at the Big 12, and they will, and not just them, but many ACC fan bases want nothing to do with the Big 12.
Well, let me, if I may, let me ask you a question. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. When you look at how your team is going to do this coming year and you see your schedule, your natural instinct is to see how those teams did last year. So let's say I'll make up a team. Let's say you guys played Washington State, right? And you beat them by 30. And you see them on your schedule this year, you're like, yes. But that's with NIL. These teams are completely different. So fans are looking at conferences now the same way. They're thinking, oh, the Big 12, they lost Texas and they lost Oklahoma. What's left there? And oh, whoopie-doo, they added Utah and whatever, blah, 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 whatever, right?
Right.
They don't understand that it's talent acquisition now by money, right? That by like Texas Tech, Oklahoma State,
Right.
like they're acquiring also, and it's not the same team from last year. And I think that's going to play out as time goes on. That when you look at a schedule, you can't really go by how that team was last year. You got to go look at what they do in the transfer portal and what they do in the second window in the transfer portal. Like because now the team can dramatically change, but it still has the same logo. And the team that you used to stomp out all of a sudden is formidable. But that's going to happen across the board to your whole conference.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yep.
not saying they're going to start beating SEC teams. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's not it's hard to detach your emotions to being a fan to realistically looking at a roster and also coaches that you brought in or lost.
That path to the championship, in my opinion, carries so much higher value from a competitive standpoint than just the check. Now, the check's important for the organization, right? Getting 70 million, it builds your facilities, it helps you, this playing players thing. Better have regulations around it, or else it's going to be chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something to be said for basically going in and dominating a conference for the length of the time you're there, 4 or 5 years, and then it's another step just to get into those other leagues. I think that's a very pragmatic approach, and I really appreciate it because we haven't heard a lot from ACC people.
It's because the emotion, like as a fan, it's difficult to detach yourself and look at the realistic point of view. Like I think I would prefer the Big Ten over everybody because I think we fit the Big Ten, from an academic standpoint. It just makes so much sense, it really is like the Penn State rivalry we used to have back in the day when we were in the Big East. Like there's just so many things that make sense. I don't honestly know where we're going to end up, but I do know from what I hear, we're fine. We have options. I just don't know where it's going to shake out. That's the truth.
All right, let's just play a little prognostication here game, okay? Like we don't know all the facts and stuff, but we've got our intuitions. We understand stuff. So based on today, Flo, like if you had to put estimates, probabilities on the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12 and where Miami ends up, or even the ACC, like what would it be? So first off, like the Big Ten, what do you think the likelihood that you guys end up in there?
I think that's the biggest likelihood because of the fit. I don't know. Again, it depends who you listen to, right? It really does. But if you really dig and you talk to people that don't have a horse in the race and they're just giving you honest knowledge, an attorney or whatnot, it's a fit thing. And the Big Ten does not have a footprint in Florida. They just don't. Right. They don't. But the SEC does, and the Big 12 does, right? And the FSU doesn't fit the Big Ten at all, right? FSU fits more the SEC. So if you're being honest, and not because I think the Big Ten is where Miami ends up at the end. If not, I think it's the Big 12. I do not think it'll be the SEC. I'll be very shocked if it's I would put Big 10 number 1, Big 12 number 2, and SEC number 3. And ACC will not be in 2 years. There won't be no SEC.
Do you think it's going to just completely dissolve or be some watered down G5 level conference, the ACC?
I don't know what it'll be called, but without ESPN's money, I think I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to dissolve. I mean, Florida State is going to stick it to them.
So Morris, let's get to that really quick. Morris Simmons on topic. He's one of our members. His question is, did Miami vote to sue Florida State?
Miami voted with all the people that voted to stay Switzerland. This is true. But everybody voted. Miami was Switzerland. They're gonna be Switzerland publicly. I promise. That's Radakovich's MO. But if you follow Radakovich's history, whatever he says publicly, just his history, not just with us,
right?
But he does the opposite. He literally has done the opposite of what he says publicly, and it usually benefits his university.
Here's a super chat from Rock and Rant, friend of the show and also a friend of Flo's. Says Flo says Big 12. It makes me regret this intro.
Mhm.
He thought you were going to come in here and stomp on us.
No, man, I'm a realistic person. I think that, I don't think it's SEC because of at least the stuff I hear. I don't think it's going to be SEC. I think it's going to be Big 10 or Big 12. I really believe that's what's going to happen.
I think the Big Ten's a high likelihood right there for Miami.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's like
our-
90%.
I agree.
Like if the Big 12 landed in Miami, it would be a huge win for the Big 12
It would
conference.
be.
Obviously, we'd love to have Miami, but we realize that Miami is probably a P2 level team.
Well,
I have a
that's just
question.
the reality of it.
Can I ask you guys a question on that?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
What would it look like in your estimate if the Big 12, if Miami, let's say they were talking and it was a chance Miami go to, do you think the Big 12 would ask Miami to take a pay cut? Do you think the Big 12 would make them equal like everybody else? How do you think that would be?
Go ahead. You go
There
first.
is 0% chance that Miami's taking a pay cut to go to the Big 12.
Hmm.
I mean, if you come to the Big 12, all of a sudden, like you have the biggest brand in the conference. Like there's some good brands and stuff, but Miami is the biggest historical brand. You'd be the top brand dogs. There's no way. Like, and so I think that you're probably going to get some type of extra bonus, maybe a like upfront bonus like Colorado did. Colorado got a few $1,000,000 from jumping off the pack.
Right.
So I think a full share and probably more compensation to come would be on the way for sure, because that is a big swing factor, Flo. If the Big 12 were to get Miami, you could probably talk about renegotiating contracts and everything.
Facts.
That's a tectonic move, man. And so, yeah, I think that
I agree with everything you just said. I can't get fans to detach their emotions. They're so, everyone is, and I mean this respectfully when I say this, they're so stuck on viewing stuff like it was,
Right.
and not how it's about to be.
Right. Well, reality bites, right? People don't like reality.
Right.
You stole my answer, by the way, word for word. So I'll take half. I'll take half credit for that.
He's a smart guy.
Well,
I do think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I do think that if Miami goes to the Big 10, you're looking at a half share though for sure.
It's definitely going to be less in the beginning.
Yeah, I think that you're going to get the same deals Oregon and Washington, that half
agree.
share. And I think that right now, I know the cities are different. Obviously, it's Miami, the brand equity in Miami versus Eugene, Oregon. But I think that Miami and Oregon football programs are super similar.
Yeah.
And like you watch Oregon this year, and they have one of the most talented rosters in the Big 10 going into this next year. They might win the conference. I mean, Ohio State's probably going to win. But Oregon's going to compete. I think Miami seriously compete in the Big 10 too. Just give them like a year or two. You're basically right there, like you said, recruiting wise.
Right.
And it just seems like these Florida teams going up to the Big 10 seems like gold to me. Like if I'm Miami, I'm just licking my chops to get up there, recruiting wise and everything else.
No, I'm with you. I like I said when you guys asked me, I think the Big 10 is the best fit. It has the most money, or they will have the most money.
Right.
But I'm not on board with a lot of the ACC or Miami fans that, oh no, not the Big 12, because I think they don't look at it on what it is about to be. They look at it maybe how it was before the new TV contract, before the addition of this school, and the possible more schools that you can add, at the end of the day. It gives you flexibility, but it's a temporary move, in my opinion. And I mean, I would love to come back on here and we're friends in 5-6 years to see, because I'm a betting man. I would bet it's gonna end up being 2 by the time in 6 years. It's gonna be 2 conferences.
So let's book it. We'll still be here. Let's just book that. You can be a friend of the show.
How many teams do you reckon is going to be in that?
Well, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
How many teams do you reckon are going to be in? Like if there's 2, if it moves that way, and the Big 12 gets gobbled up by the Big 10 and the SEC, are we talking like there's just a few teams out of the Big 12 that get gobbled up, and then the rest kind of get consolidated out? Or how big do you think that's going to be?
That's a great question. I would say 48. Would be my guess. Total 48. And it'd be look. This from you guys are as much fan as I am or more than I am. They're all about to be employees, guys. And as soon as that happens, that's a chain reaction, because now all of a sudden the institutions get back control. They have no control right now. Zero. Right. The players, the agents, and the TVs have all the control. But as soon as they turn them into employees, now you're giving, well, hell this. We're gonna go over there because there's gonna be more money over there.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. I mean, there's no chance that it doesn't happen. It's coming.
The one problem with the Super League is that you'd be taking in schools, about 25 of them, that really year to year cannot compete for national championship. just because they're in those leagues already.
Question.
And we know who those schools are, right? We don't need to name them.
Right.
But we also know the schools that would be in the 15 to, let's just say 20 to be even.
Mm-hmm.
Half of that super, whatever it is schools that what's deserving. What fits that criteria? Because there's teams that are not in the P2 basically because of geography for decades
Vanderbilt.
and decades. Yeah, you can call them out. I'm not. They know what I'm thinking.
Right.
All the schools. How is that 2 super leagues? In my mind, if it's a pick 'em,
right,
and you take the 48 best teams in the country,
mm-hmm.
that would be the best TV product. But is that ever going to happen?
I think the money is going to. I mean, look, if we would have had this conversation 5 years ago, I think you guys would have been like, "You're crazy." 2 years ago, you kind of started seeing it come, right? But 5 years ago, you'd have been like, "Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC. Like, get out of here." You would laugh. You would have laughed at me. You literally would have laughed. Our 2 biggest brands, you'd have been like, "Get out of here. That'll never happen." Oregon, USC is in the Big Ten. You would have laughed at me. You literally would have laughed at me. And what is happening right now with all the new rules and changes they're trying to make? Who is pioneering that? It's the Big Ten and the SEC are pioneering this, and we have to follow suit, because if we don't follow suit, we're the little stepchild right now. I mean, we really are. So I think when they renegotiate a second time, those new contracts, they're just going to go, okay, look, we have the best product overall. And now if we take these teams and these teams, we don't have to worry about that. And then every weekend, you guys are going to get these kind of games. And then the money is going to be too much. It's going to be too much.
Well, it'll be too much if you cut out the fat. That's what I would say.
Let's
get to some
I agree with you. I agree. No, I agree with you.
It's not a deserving thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the championship at the end of the season isn't earned. It's a championship pick 'em, right?
Facts.
And that when you do subjective crap like that, then people's biases come in and all this other stuff. I don't know that college football ever cures itself of this. All right, let's get some comments before we let you go. First, Illini Ted, who's a member.
Before I kick you out.
2 Live Crew. I don't want to give a chance of some people answering or getting questions to you before you have to leave. That's what I meant. Illini Ted says 2 Live Crew banned in the USA, but not here on College Football Mafia.
That's right.
I was a fan. Were you a fan?
Absolutely. I grew up right down the street from all that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay. Let's see here. Here's one from Fernando, right? Fernando Tapia says, Miami Flow, best in the game for you content.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
I love these shout outs. These are great. Let's see what else. How about this one from Willie? Says, Big will get Florida State or Miami. They want the Big Ten network in Florida. I'm Ohio State grad, and there are a lot of alumni in Florida. Moen has said the same thing. Do you think it's an anchor state for the Big Ten if they go there?
I think, listen, I'm very, very confident when I can make this statement. The Big Ten hates that the SEC's got a footprint in Florida, and now the Big 12 has a footprint in Florida, but they don't.
Right.
And they're supposed to be the smart guys, right? The Big Ten. I think they're going to do it. It'd be dumb for them not to, from a business standpoint. Just business. It'd be dumb.
Very good.
I do have a question. Yeah, I've got a question about this because it's pretty likely that Miami ends up in the Big Ten, like we're talking about. Are you concerned at all about travel?
Yes.
Like game travel. Because that's one thing that USC and UCLA, one of the things that there's a lot of pressure on them and everything from a lot of areas of the Pac-12 talking about possible mental health issues and stuff with all the travels to games and everything. And I'm just looking at the Big Ten footprint, looking down at Miami, and I'm like, dang, you're playing USC, Oregon, Washington, and plus all the Midwest schools.
Yep. Of course.
Is that how big a deal do you think that is?
I think it's a big deal. I think it's a very big deal because we historically don't play great in cold weather, even though we were in the Big East and we used to go up north and play the Boston College and the Pittsburghs and all them. And it's going to be a challenge, but I feel like it's a challenge for a couple years. After 2 or 3 years, it becomes normal. But the first 2-3 years, I think it's going to be a shock.
Right.
I mean, I really just for them too, though. To come and play in this humidity. Can you imagine? Can you imagine like a Penn State coming over here to play in this humidity? I mean, it really is going to home field advantage is going to be a big deal. I can tell you that.
Big deal is exactly right. Rock and Rant, one of our contributors, you know him, says, what do people not know about the portal and NIL impact on players that they should? What do you think, Flo?
A couple things. Number one, the way they budget their money is really bad. And I mean that it's funny, but it's really bad. Like I can tell you, I know kids, and I mean this respectfully again, they get their NIL check and 2 weeks later they're flat broke. They don't know how to budget. And I mean, how could we have expected that if the NFL people don't even know how to do it, right? So that has been terrible. But the second thing is that a lot of people don't know, and this pisses me off, and this is one of the reasons I'm really happy what we do with our brand, that we give all the money to the players. The agents are taking cuts of this and that's, to me, not what NIL was supposed to be. If you're going to do NIL, name, image, and likeness, it's for the player. Why do you have an agent at 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, however old you are, and then he's taking a percentage of your NIL deal, and you're not even in the NFL or anything like that? I think that's terrible, number one. And I advise a lot of parents to take courses and stuff before they sign with they call them the runners or a handler, whatever you want to call them. They're agents, people that are doing this, and it's really a black eye in this. And the last thing I'll say is, a lot of people don't know this, but a few players have already done this, and this is something I think is funny. If you sign an NIL with the school, there's contracts, and they're redoing them now because the schools have gotten a little bit smarter. If they transfer to another school, you still owe them that NIL from the other city. You still have to pay that guy. They can take them to court, because remember, you're not paying me to play for University of Miami.
Right.
You're paying me for my name, image, and likeness. So if I decide to transfer and go play for Utah, or I go play for Michigan, you better still pay me for my name, image, and likeness, even though I'm playing for another school.
Oh my gosh.
And,
that's what Caden Proctor right there. Caden Proctor.
There's another one. Mims did it. Remember, and from Georgia, he went to Florida State. They signed a deal, and 2 days later, he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna go back to Georgia."
So, and the fact that there's no regulation around this stuff,
yes,
the system is so broken. So,
oh my God,
one of the proposals is, once they do become employees, there's a pay scale, right? Just like in the NFL,
exactly.
And there's you have a salary cap. Spend $20 billion on your team, but don't go a penny over. And have at her, right?
You know what? But you know what's really going to happen? Don't look at this. Is how I see it happening. The conference, once you become an employee, I think the conferences are the ones that are going to say, all right, all the players get X amount of money.
Okay.
Right. And if you're in this conference, not Miami gets to pay their quarterback more than the Boston College. I think the conferences is what's gonna step in. So then there's a little bit better policing. You're still gonna get the side stuff. That's never gonna go away, no matter what. It's AAU basketball forever,
right?
you know what I mean. But absolutely. I think it'll be the conferences. I really think it'll be the conferences that'll be like, all right, if you're in our conference, this is your cap. This is your cap. And then if we catch you, I don't know what happens, but I think that's how it's going to
go. Here's another comment from Rock and Rant. It says, Flo, I asked you this before, but for the group, now that you've seen Cam Ward in person, what is your take on him, and why he didn't go and get an NFL draft grade?
I think wins and losses matter when you're a quarterback, number one. I believe that. As far as you going higher. 11, I think it was 11 or 12 fumbles he had last year. That's not good. I mean, that's turnovers. And in the NFL, that's called kryptonite at the end of the day. Now, seeing him live, I totally understand now. Like, I wasn't on board at first because I didn't like how it all went down. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. Like, I don't want you here. I was definitely that guy. But getting to watch him practice, and I mean, I understand now. I'm like, okay, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I see why the guy's an NFL guy. I think if he can take care of the ball, I mean, we're talking about, and I've been doing this for a while. If he can take care of the ball, he's a high guy. I'm not going to tell you he's a top 10 guy, whatever, but he's a first 2-round guy for sure. If he can take care of the ball.
If
He
you
kind
can
of
do that
has
up at
shades of
Washington
Kyler
State.
Murray a little bit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he plays like Kyler Murray, but like a taller Kyler Murray.
The thing that threw me off with him that I didn't understand until I saw it live was different arm angles and the calmness. He's very calm when there's a lot of bodies on him. He's not like erratic and wants to juke people. He's just calm. He's very calm, and he's got different arm angles. It really surprised me. I got to be honest. He won me over. I wasn't a fan at first. I assumed things, and once I saw it, I went on my show. I was like, look, my bad. I think the guy's the real deal.
Tony Lawson pops in his head and says, what's up with Miami's terrible attendance? You play at that pro stadium. There was talk of a stadium on campus that sort of fell through. Is it one of these situations, if you build it, they will come?
No, I don't think so. I think it's even when back in the day with the Orange Bowl, a lot of people don't realize this. We could have been 7-0, but if we weren't playing a team that wasn't good, half the Orange Bowl would be empty. So that whole thing, we're like, oh, in the Orange Bowl, it was packed. No, if it was good games, a good team, it would be packed because we used to win. So 2 things I'll tell you, Tony. Number 1, in Miami, there's a million things to do. Like literally, it really is. And it's sad. I wish it was more of a college town. Trust me on that. Okay. Trust me. I like when I travel to away games. I really do. It's cool to see the different vibe. And number 2, when you're losing, nobody here wants to come support you. If Miami starts winning every year 10 games again, that stadium will be much, much more full. But not every game. I'm not going to sit there and say that. Not every game.
Ute?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of USC and UCLA too. I mean, in the LA market, they have the hardest time selling out their stadiums, just like Miami, because there's a million things to do. There's great weather. There's the Lakers in town. It's the same story in Miami. So, what from like a fan perspective though, like what's the solution then to that? Is there a solution? Like, is like build a smaller stadium or something, or is it just like accepting that the attendance might be up and down and like down a lot given just the nature of the city? Like, what's your ideas?
My guess is, the look, the tailgates are incredible. I will tell you that. The tailgates are insane. I've been to a million tailgates and all different teams. Miami's tailgate is special. I will tell you that. So if you get a chance to come to a Miami game, please get there a few hours early and tailgate. It's definitely a show. But to answer your question, no, I don't think there's anything you can do because, like I said, when we were the truth and we had the Orange Bowl, there was some games that didn't sell out too. Now you start winning and you have a decent team on your schedule. Yeah, it's amazing in there. It's amazing, but it's not like some college towns where it doesn't matter who you're playing. That thing is packed. It's humming. Everyone's going crazy. That's not like it is here.
All righty. I think we're going to let you go after this, Flo. Thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
We hope to see you again, right?
I would love to. I'd love to get you guys on my show sometime too.
Absolutely. Flo, will you tell everybody where to find you? Yeah, tell everyone where to find you.
I'm easy to find on Twitter at Miami Flow 305, and then just type in YouTube Miami Flow Football, and you'll find us. Again, we're the only podcast that all the money that comes in we donate back to NIL, and we like it. It's our niche, and for us, our brand, we respect all the other teams. We're not here to talk shit about, the Florida States or whatever. We'll go at them here and there, but respectfully, I love college football, number 1. And I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You have a great night. Again, Flo
Good
Miami,
stuff.
Everybody. Thanks for
Have a
being
good night,
here,
guys.
Flo.
Take care.
See you later. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Get a clap out. I wish Moen was here for the sound effects.
We'll bring Moen in for a sound.
There we go. Sound effects. All right. So like that. Thanks again, Flo. We appreciate you being here, man. And what an incredible interview. We learned some stuff. And if
Great,
the fans,
amazing.
I hope Moen was back there doing the magic finger stuff with shorts, because we got some answers that are going to blow people's minds. So hopefully Moen was doing some work while, the rest of us were actually working. So Moen, you weren't in the room with us. What's your main takeaway?
My main takeaway is that he has got a very strong theory on the Big 12 and the longevity of that conference.
Right.
I cannot see, for the life of me, see the Big 12 getting eaten up by both the SEC and the Big 10. I just don't think there's enough. I don't want to use the term value, but I have to say value.
Sure.
I don't think there's enough value there for him to gobble up the remainders of those conferences.
Moan, what if it's just like a few, though? I mean, I think that's what Flo is kind of alluding to, that it won't be, there's going to be consolidation in the Big 12.
Sure,
so
but I
it won't
mean,
be,
in the
how
Big
many
12,
do you think can make the lift over? I guess that's the question.
Right, but I mean, we'd have to look at the Big 12 and see which properties have the most value to the Big 10 and the SEC. Arizona State, Kansas, maybe a Colorado, depending on what Dion does there. Maybe a Utah or a BYU for Salt Lake City market. There's just really not a lot of properties there that I think that would be highly desirable to the Big Ten and the SEC.
The chat with the Super League that came out today, and we can bring that topic up right now. That we talked about it 2 weeks ago or last week. It was reinvented and re brought up today. The 80 team, what was it? 10 divisions of 8 schools or 8 divisions of 10 schools, something like that. And then there's obviously that 70 plus 10 from the G leagues. The chances that happens, Mohan, why don't you tell everybody why that won't happen?
Because why would they give up all the money they make right now in the Big and the SEC to go do that?
Right.
It was a bad idea last week, and then they're like, hold my beer. Let's make it a worse idea this week. So they brought out these brackets, and you look at them and you go, what? Why I'm not playing in this bracket. I'm sorry, I'm not. This is not my bracket. I'm playing in another bracket. Thank you. It's called the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Ohio State's not going to give up their $100 million.
None of the Big Ten team is. None of the SEC teams are.
That's what I'm saying. I was just using Ohio State as an example.
Well, Moan, I mean, you're so charitable with Purdue and Indiana giving them money every year. We can't just give Utah some money too.
Well, Purdue and Utah, we've been with a long time, so it's almost like a marriage contract. We have to pay them.
Let's see here. So we're going to go about 15 minutes after this, guys. We want to get some follow-up questions from everybody. We do have some comments that were highlighted that we'll get through. But first, before we do anything else, I want to run back to this report about the BYU head coach. I told everybody I was excited about it, so I want to show it. BYU hired a new coach. He's the assistant head coach at the Phoenix. What is their name again? Arizona. What?
Wasn't it the Suns? The
Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
He's the assistant head coach at the Phoenix Suns. Oh, sorry. I thought I was sharing my screen. And this is an article that was in KSL Sports. I'm not going to read it. I will just pass the link on to you people. You can read it yourselves. But I'll give you the highlight. The highlight of all this is that it's a really well-written article, by the way. BYU is going to pay 7 years, $30 million, which is roughly 4.3 a year. What does that number do to you? What do you think about that when you saw that?
You want me to be honest about that? It makes me a little angry. You're getting this little benefactor over there, this billionaire that's funding the Utah Jazz, this Ryan Smith. I'm not very happy about it, actually, also. That's all I'll say about it.
I have something to say about this.
Go ahead, Mo, and say something.
Let him cook.
Let him cook now.
Let him cook. I said let him cook.
BYU doesn't get many wins, so I'm going to give them this one. This is a win for them. You got to let them have their day.
I love it. It's true. We don't. I mean, when Pope left, he took our number one recruit, best recruit we've had in 30 years, decided to go now to Kentucky. So we needed a lot of goodwill, and hiring this guy, I think, really, really will make a big difference. I'm hoping to make it to the Marriott Center when they do his introduction. Those are usually amazing events. So I'm not sure when that is, but I'm going to try to do that live. Anyway, so that was big news for everybody who was watching that had questions. We definitely were paying attention, at least I was. And let's see, this last one again from Michelle Weintraub. She's the first one to notice it. It says, hey, all, congrats to BYU fans. Kentucky may have done you a favor. I tell you what, there is a distinct possibility BYU does better without Mark Pope than they did with. I'm just going to say that out loud. That is very possible. All right, let's move on to some other topics.
Let's talk about the transfer portal. I want to get your guys' assessments here. Like, so today was like the transfer portal, like the spring opening, right?
Right.
And everybody, including myself, thought it was just going to be absolutely bonkers, bizarre. Everyone's going to be leaving. Half your roster is going to be gutted. And that, honestly, what that didn't happen today. I mean, there were some big names that we knew that were going to leave, but like really rosters stayed intact. Things didn't change that much. The lower levels of rosters might have left, a couple of players here and there, but it wasn't really as big a deal as previously anticipated or thought, in my view. What do you think about that, Moan?
I think once some of these players get signed to rosters, I think you might see a higher turnover. Right now, if a kid's at, say, an Ohio State and he's a cornerback and they pick up a cornerback in the portal that's a better cornerback, he's going to hit the portal. So I think that might be the case. But I think for a lot of these guys, it's not so much playing time as it is paying time.
Right.
They will ride the pine if you pay them to ride the pine.
And that's really going to show out more even in basketball, I think.
Yeah.
The one and dones are going to be very, very rare now when they can make $1 million sitting on a college bench for half a season. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't see why they leave. We might be back to juniors and seniors graduating. Millionaires, by the way. That's quite possible. I have another one. Do you have another question?
Yeah, I mean, that just brings up to mind that Flo comment saying that NIL money is blown within 2 weeks for some of these players because of a lack of financial literacy. That's crazy, guys.
It is.
So you need to figure out better infrastructure to teach these kids on how to save and budget money.
True, but I'm okay with it as long as they're boosting the local economy. So those Lamborghini dealerships need sales too, guys. Come on.
Around here it's a Tesla.
Yeah.
Utah,
liquor stores,
Teslas, liquor stores, and Teslas.
Jewelers.
Champagne.
All right, let's get to some comments we didn't get to when we had Flo on. Again, I want to thank Flo for being here tonight. What an amazing interview. Just speaking for you and me, we'd love to be on your show. If you want to have somebody with a different experience, we definitely can do that. But you're always welcome back here too. Let's get to this first one from Timothy Green. One of our members says, bring Miami to the Big 12. So let's just talk about that really quick. What's the chance? My percentage, I think I told Moen a while ago, was like 8 to 10% that they could go to the Big 12. Have you guys' opinions changed anymore?
No, I think they're locked in the Big 10. They're locked in the Big 10.
Okay.
I would give it a 10% shot too, Bomber, but I mean, we're saying 90% shot of going to the Big 10. So, I mean,
right. It's still not
it's not even close. I mean, my heart wants Miami so much because that is, to me, it's such a game changer for the perception of the conference. And if you get Miami, then you're going to get other quality ACC teams too. Maybe bring over Louisville and stuff. And all of a sudden,
Virginia Tech,
different. Louisville.
I can see a very good Big 12 come out of this. If we could get the not nightmare for the ACC, but the perfect scenario for the Big 12.
I cannot just imagine, like, we're in a place where Brett Yormark's got to be licking his chops. The fact that Miami Hurricanes are even like talked about to go to the Big 12 after what happened a couple of years ago when the Big 12 was on life support. This is nuts. Like, what a comeback story.
But see, I think they're doing the one thing that Pitt should be doing. They're being proactive. They're going out and having those conversations. They're not putting their head in the sand and just hoping and praying the thing sits together out of goodwill. I think it's smart for Miami that there's a small chance they go to the Big 12, but why not do your homework? The minute one of the rulings comes out that sort of puts a bow on what's currently going on with the Gore and stuff, Miami might be right behind North Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State. So, Tony Lawson, $2 super chat. Moen, thanks for pointing this out. It was at the bottom. I apologize. Bomber, Wild Ute, NHL to Salt Lake City. Your thoughts? Go ahead, Ute. I'll go second.
See this logo? This is the only team I want in Salt Lake City. I'm serious about that. I could care less about any pro team in town. I want them all out. I want it all about the Utes all the time. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Okay. My thoughts are I think it's a good thing for Utah, the state. And by the way, it doesn't bother me that they're cutting into University of Utah's fans either.
Of course.
Yeah. By the way, we have an NHL team in Columbus too. That doesn't impact you nearly as much as you think it would.
Well, we've got the Jazz right next to us. We're going to have NHL. We've got MLS.
The
Baseball's
Jazz probably.
coming.
Yeah.
Baseball's coming. I'm telling you, Utah is in real trouble. You better tell Kyle Whittingham you got to stay another 10 years.
Maybe we will.
He might. Daniel Gygax, another one of our members, says there was a great 30 for 30 called Broke, talking to players that lost all their money. That was a fantastic video. I watched it. Did you guys see that one?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was shocking how somebody could be. But that's part of the thing. You come from nothing and you want to help all the people around you.
Right.
By the time you're done helping them, you realize you're broke and they're not going to help you. So
that's true. Yep, that's very true. Did you see it? Have you seen it?
I didn't see that, no.
Okay. Do you have the Disney, Hulu, ESPN?
I don't.
Oh, okay. You're going to need that for football season. So for the Big 12, you're going to have ESPN. So you might as well buy all three. Anyway, my point was on Disney or on Hulu, you can watch all the 30 for 30s. So you could watch it. It's just sitting there. I mean, you can watch the Miami ones. I mean, all of them. So that's a gift I give to you. Information. Line Ted, one of our members, says, I'm not even sure why top P4 schools recruit high school kids. They're not elite recruits. They are likely to recruit over them in the portal to save the spots and NIL. And this methodology is definitely Deion Sanders. He doesn't take anybody out of high school. I think he had 3 or 4. But now he's losing transfers. So
I will put the video in Discord. I think I showed this to you guys how prospects turn out versus NFL draft.
I remember seeing it, yeah.
Right. Those high prospects coming out of high school leads significantly to a higher chance of winning a national championship.
Makes sense.
That was the old world, though, Mo, and we're in a new world this time around.
Still, the data's still there that the recruit is better than anybody you can get out of the portal.
I think I've heard from professional people actually do this for a living that say they'd much rather have a high school recruit. The transfers come with baggage. If they're a transfer, they're transferring for a reason.
Why don't we have a high school recruit that signs a 2 or 4 year contract?
I would love it. Let's do it.
Move. That's where we're going. That's where it needs to go. And then we'll focus on high school.
We'll make them conference employees, and then we don't have to worry about it.
That's what's going to happen, yeah.
Sergeant Pickles says Jedfish literally just had Seahawks staff in for the coaches clinic. More pro teams is good for all sports in a market. Ute.
I know, guys. I get it. It's good for the economy and stuff. I don't like even talking about other teams other than the Utes in the city. It bothers me. So
Ryan Willie for $2 says the Jazz.
Thank you, evil badger. Yes.
Just so you know, I'm not a fan of the Jazz either. So, but that everybody knows that for the most part, everybody knows that about me. Let's see here. Buckshot Kid says Major League Baseball Utah A's. He's thinking the A's might come to Utah. I think that ship has sailed. I think they're going to Sacramento.
Well, hey, check it out. Like all these comments, like why do you think these pro teams are coming to the Utah market, Bomber? Like, yeah, these are all legitimate. The MLB team, the NHL team. Right. Why do you think they want to come into this market? Just a broad question.
Right. In the last 25 years, and I'm included in, well, I'm like 27 years. In the last 27 years, the people moving to Utah, and you're a native, so for you it's a little different. But for the people coming to Utah, they're bringing a lot of money with them, and the technology stuff is just booming in Utah, and it's a low cost of living when you compare it to California. So we're getting a lot of West Coast people to come here. I think maybe it's something like 30 or 40% of all of our new people are coming from Washington, Oregon, or California. But also, obviously, we try to have bigger families in the state, and the numbers are just going up. The last thing is the church used to be dominant, and Sundays were out. It's not dominant any longer in the state of Utah. That's newsflash for anybody who didn't know. So all these games that happen on Sundays, a lot more people are going to be going. So that's my opinion.
So when we talk about Super League and like in college football, why wouldn't like the biggest conferences want to be in the state. Like that, if all the pro teams want to get in, why in the world wouldn't the SEC or the Big Ten want to get in and have a footprint in the state? That's what I want to know.
Agree. That's why I said there's just so few valuable properties in the Big Ten right now. Or the Big 12. Well, there's some low value properties in the Big Ten as well, but Utah would definitely, I think, be out there if the Big Ten wanted to go west again. If they needed to go and add another team to make a Western division with like a Nebraska or something. That's where I think a Colorado or a Utah could come in.
There's always hope. There's always hope. All right. I think we're going to call it short a little bit tonight. We got some other things we wanted to work on as a team. So I want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight. Do you guys want to go ahead and tell everybody what's been on your mind, and then we'll kind of sign off and get out of here?
Yeah, so the Hurricanes, I mean, great stuff early from Flo. I think the Hurricanes are a really great fit to the Big Ten. He thinks so too. Miami Circles think so. Also, the fact that they would be interested in jumping over to the Big 12 is phenomenal news for this conference. Because if Miami happens to end up in the Big 12, then we could really grow and become a power. And so that's super encouraging as a Big 12 fan and supporter here. So, yeah, it was cool to hear that and stuff. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But that's the news on the Miami and like the clandestine secret approach that they're taking right now in this realignment game.
Moen?
Yeah, I just want to let Fatal Jedi know, I assure you, we are live.
Why does he say it's not live? What?
I don't know.
So it's not be live.
Just like Clerks, I'll get a big sign that says, I assure you we are live.
Can I just tell you that's the weirdest comment I've ever seen before the show. Wow.
Yeah, just pop up, so I guess we're not live.
We are live. That's how dumb we are, believe me. VC Knoll checks in here at the end. Good to see you, Vince. Hope you guys' show went well tonight. Really do. You guys have a great show, and just keep up the hard work down there. All right, we're going to sign out. Everybody have a great night. Stay out of trouble. If you've been drinking, it's because we haven't said Georgia Tech. Sorry, if you have been drinking, it's because
wait. I have to show you this.
The whole show.
I found this shirt at the thrift shop. This is the greatest shirt ever. Look at this. Happy drunk on Cinco de Mayo.
Happy.
I love it, Moan.
$5.
I think put it on eBay. You'll get like $100 for it. Anyway, everybody have a great night. We will be on tomorrow night. I'm not sure who my co-host is going to be. Jen has some travel things that she's doing, so she won't make it. So if there's somebody that really wants to be on a show and is pretty good at this stuff, hit me up with a DM. I don't think there are a lot of takers. But anyway, I'll probably be here tomorrow night. If not, regardless, I'll put out a notice so you guys know what's going on our schedule. Regardless, Friday night. Moen, what's going on Friday night?
Big freaking Friday. We're going to be doing a little drinking. Maybe taking some illicit substances. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It depends on what the guy says.
Okay.
You know.
I do understand. I got you. Everybody else, have a great night. Stay out of trouble. You want to say anything before we get out of here?
Go Utes.
All right. I'm okay with that. Everybody have a great night. We will see you tomorrow night. Peace.